Imagine you are talking to a friend. You want to give them some advice. You want to ask for permission politely. You want to talk about your abilities or about a future possibility. How do you do all of this in English? The answer is a special group of superverbs. They are small, but they give your sentences superpowers. They add color, tone, and specific meaning to your ideas. They are called modal verbs, and today, we are going to unlock their magic. Welcome back to our series, English Grammar Unlocked. I'm your host, Scarlett. Today, we are going on an adventure in planning to master the incredibly useful and common modal verbs. In this episode, we will turn a confusing grammar topic into a fun, practical story. First, we will join two friends, Leo and Mia, as they plan a trip to London, and we will see how modal verbs shape their entire conversation. Second, we will master 10 essential vocabulary words about planning and possibility. And finally, for our language focus, we will break down the specific job of 5 key modal verbs: can, could, should, must, and might, so you can use them with total confidence. Part 1. The dream of a trip. Possibility, ability, and permission. Our story today begins with two friends, Leo and Mia. They have saved some money and they want to go on an exciting trip together. They are sitting in a cafe with a laptop, dreaming about all the places they can go. This is the brainstorming stage, a time full of possibilities. Leo opens the laptop and says, "Okay, we have a week for our vacation. Where should we go? We could go to Paris, or we could visit Rome. Both cities look amazing." Mia looks thoughtful and adds, "That's true. Or, we might even have enough money to go to Tokyo. It might be more expensive, but it would be an incredible adventure." Let's pause the story right here. This is our first lesson. When Leo and Mia are talking about their options, they use the words could and might. They use these modal verbs to talk about possibilities. Going to Paris is a possibility. Going to Rome is a possibility. Going to Tokyo is a possibility. They are not certain yet. They are just exploring ideas. Might often suggests a slightly smaller or less certain possibility than could, but they are very similar. Now let's get back to their planning. After looking at ticket prices, they decide that London is the best option for their budget. Mia gets excited and asks Leo, "Can you speak English well?" Leo smiles confidently and replies, "Yes, I can speak it quite well. I can order food and I can ask for directions. I can also read a map without any problems." This is our next important lesson. Leo uses the modal verb can to talk about his ability. Can tells us what someone is able to do. I can swim. She can play the piano. He can speak 3 languages. It is the modal verb of skill and ability. Leo wants to start looking for flights, so he asks Mia a question. He wants to be polite, so he says, "Could I use your computer for a minute?" Mia replies, "Of course, you can use it now." Let's look at what just happened. Leo used could to make a very polite request. When we ask for permission, saying, "Could I?" is often softer and more polite than saying, "Can I?" And when Mia gives him permission, she uses can. "You can use it now" is a simple and friendly way to say yes. So, in just the first few minutes of planning, our friends have already used 3 powerful modal verbs: Could and might for possibilities, can for ability and permission, and could for polite requests. Part 2. Making the plan, advice and necessity. Now that Leo and Mia have decided on London, they need to start making concrete plans. This is where they move from dreaming to doing. Leo is looking at flights on the computer, and his eyes get wide. Wow, he says. The ticket prices are changing every day. They are more expensive today than they were yesterday. I think we should book them as soon as possible. Let's pause here for our next rule. Leo uses the modal verb should. We use should to give or ask for advice. It is your opinion about what is a good idea or the right thing to do. When Leo says, we should book them soon, it is his strong suggestion. It is not a strict rule, but it is his advice. You will use should all the time to give your opinion. For example, you should pack a warm jacket for London. It can be cold. Or you can ask for advice. What do you think we should see on our first day? Mia is listening to Leo, but she is looking at their passports. Suddenly, she has a worried look on her face. Oh no, she says. My passport is expired. It is not valid anymore. I must renew it this week. If I don't, I cannot travel at all. This brings us to our next very important modal verb, must. Mia says, I must renew it. She does not say, I should renew it. Why? Because this is not advice. This is a strong necessity. It is a rule. It is an obligation. If she doesn't renew her passport, her trip is impossible. This is the main difference between should and must. Should is for a good idea. Must is for a rule or a very strong requirement. For example, you should try the fish and chips in London. It's famous. This is advice. You must have a valid passport to enter the country. This is a rule. We should go to bed early tonight. This is a good idea. We must leave for the airport at 6 a.m. or we will miss our flight. This is a necessity. Understanding the difference between the soft advice of should and the strong necessity of must will make your English much more precise and clear. Part 3. The Itinerary. Putting it all together. Now Leo and Mia have booked their tickets and Mia is renewing her passport. It's time for the fun part, planning their daily itinerary. An itinerary is a day-by-day plan for a trip. Let's listen to their conversation and hear how all 5 modal verbs work together naturally. Leo says, Okay, I have a draft itinerary. On Monday morning, we can visit the British Museum. I've heard it's amazing. It might be very busy, so I think we should go right when it opens. Mia replies, That's a great idea. After the museum, we could walk through Hyde Park. It's nearby. Could we have a picnic for lunch there if the weather is nice? Leo looks at his phone. Yes, we can definitely do that. But we must remember to check the weather forecast that morning. The forecast says it might rain later in the week, so we should take advantage of the first sunny day. Mia continues. Perfect. What about the evening? We could see a musical show. I've always wanted to do that. What show do you think we should see? Leo says. There are so many options. We can decide when we get there. We don't have to book that now. But we must buy our tickets for the Tower of London online before we go. The lines to buy tickets there can be very long. This short conversation is a perfect example of how modal verbs make planning possible. They used can and could to talk about their abilities and options. They used might to talk about the possibility of rain. They used should to give each other advice. And they used must to talk about the necessary things they had to do. Part 4. Language focus. Now, let's move to our language focus for today. First, let's master 10 essential vocabulary words from our planning session. Our first phrase is modal verb. A modal verb is a special type of helping verb that expresses ideas like ability, possibility, permission, or obligation. For example, can, could, and should are all modal verbs. Another example is, this lesson is helping me understand modal verbs. Our second word is to plan. To plan means to think about and decide in detail what you are going to do in the future. For example, Leo and Mia are planning their trip to London. Another example is, you should plan your studies for the week. Our third word is trip. A trip is a journey to a place and back again, especially a short one for pleasure or a particular purpose. For example, they are very excited about their trip. Another example is, I have to go on a business trip next month. Next, we have itinerary. An itinerary is a detailed plan or route of a journey. For example, Leo made a draft itinerary for their week in London. Another example is, our tour guide gave us a copy of the itinerary. Our fifth word is suggestion. A suggestion is an idea or a plan that you offer for someone to consider. For example, Mia's suggestion was to have a picnic in the park. Another example is, do you have any suggestions for dinner tonight? The sixth word is advice. Advice is an opinion or a recommendation you give to someone about what they should do. For example, Leo's advice was to book the tickets soon. Another example is, he gave me some very good advice. Our seventh word is possibility. A possibility is a chance that something may happen or be true. For example, they used could and might to discuss the possibility of visiting different cities. Another example is, there is a strong possibility of rain tomorrow. Next, we have necessity. A necessity is the fact of being required or necessary, something you must have or do. For example, renewing her passport was a necessity for Mia. Another example is, a good internet connection is a necessity for online learning. Our ninth word is permission. Permission is the act of allowing someone to do something. For example, Mia gave Leo permission to use her computer. Another example is, you must ask for permission before you leave. And our final word is ability. An ability is the physical or mental power or skill needed to do something. For example, Leo has the ability to speak English well. Another example is, she has a remarkable ability to learn languages quickly. Now for our grammar focus, let's do a final review of our 5 key modal verbs. A very important grammar rule for all modal verbs is that they are followed by the base form of the main verb. You do not add to and you do not add as. It's always modal plus base verb. For example, she can go, not she can to go, or she can goes. Let's review their jobs. Can is used for ability, I can speak English, and giving permission, you can start now. Could is used for polite requests, could you help me? And for possibilities, we could go to the museum. Might is also used for possibilities, perhaps a little less certain, it might rain tomorrow. Should is used for giving advice or suggestions, you should see that movie. Must is used for strong necessity and rules. You must have a passport to travel. Part 5. Practice tips for the 4 skills. Now, how can you practice these magical verbs? For listening, find a short travel vlog on YouTube where someone is planning their day. Listen for all the modal verbs they use. We should go here. We can see this. It might be crowded. For speaking, plan your dream weekend with your AI tutor. Use your voice. Your challenge is to use all 5 modal verbs. For example, this weekend, we could go to the beach. We should leave on Friday. I can drive. We must book a hotel. It might be sunny. For reading, look at a frequently asked questions or FAQ page for a hotel or a tourist attraction online. You will see many modal verbs used in the questions and answers. When should I arrive? You must have a ticket to enter. And for writing, use your journal to write a short plan for your next week. Your plan should include things you must do, things you should do, and things you might do. For example, next week I must finish my project for work. I should also exercise 3 times. I might see a movie on Saturday if I have time. Part 6. Your next action. Today, we unlocked the superpowers of 5 of the most useful verbs in the English language. These magical verbs are the key to sounding more natural, more polite, and more precise. You are no longer just stating facts like, I go to the museum. You are now expressing a world of meaning, possibilities, advice, and necessities. As we conclude, let's quickly summarize our planning session. First, we followed the story of Leo and Mia's trip and saw how modal verbs are essential for any conversation about plans. Second, we broke down the specific job of 5 key modal verbs. Can for ability, could and might for possibility, should for advice, and must for necessity. We also learned 10 essential vocabulary words for this topic. As a review, those words were modal verb, to plan, trip, itinerary, suggestion, advice, possibility, necessity, permission, and ability. Now, I have a final question for you. What is one thing you should do this week to practice your English? Share your plans with us in the comments section below. If you are committed to making this lesson a part of your life, show your energy by smashing that like button. Be a hero for a friend by sharing this video with someone you know who is planning a trip. And to lock in your commitment to learning, subscribe and smash that notification bell so you don't miss our next grammar adventure. Remember, with these verbs, you can express so much more. Until next time, take care and happy learning.